glad that you could make it to this Private Network Empire monthly webinar with Sue Bell and myself. Sue Bell has been madly putting out fires today, and she's been able to make it with us, thank goodness. Thanks for joining us, Sue.
Thanks, Russell. It's great to be here.
It's going to be a party. We're a little bit early, and I just want to, just a little bit early, I want to give everybody some lowdown if you haven't been on one of these private meetings before. And I'd like to welcome everybody who's new. First things first, you should have a questions box that you could type any questions along the way. Feel free to do that. I will be watching them when Sue is speaking and vice versa in the event that I'm speaking, but this will probably mostly be Sue today when it gets into the hardcore technical SEO infrastructure. So do not hesitate to ask questions in the question box. And specifically, this webinar is bring your own questions. So I hope some of you have been courageous enough to bring some sample domains. We know that some of you are building hundreds of WordPress sites. We know that some of you are building WR1s. And some of you are very, very focused on that core, what we call the ground zero content site, or the golden frame. That is the location that you're driving all of your traffic through, either a large network, a small network, or even one or two sites. And also wanted to say that regardless of the size of your empire and what it is that you're building, everything is scalable. You got to start somewhere. There's a first time for everything. So it's not about comparing yourself to everybody else. It's just about being where you are and getting the integration and the scalability fully in place. Okay, it's like we have more people coming in. Good. I'm glad that everybody could join us. Just open up the attendees list so I can make fun of some people. Let's see here. Poke fun at some people. Looks like we have our regular members. Like to welcome Bill. Okay, thanks, Bill. You're probably going to get first served because you had the courage to pull a website up first. So we got our first victim.
Excellent.
Let me pull up. Not very cool. That would be csm-core.com. And so we can start giving that one an autopsy. Not that it needs one. Go ahead and Purdy Flash. Slider, rather.
Oh, we have them rolling in. Guy just gave us another one.
Yeah, we've got Guy. Good. Guy, step forward.
Hidden
Good
Silos. Ah, Bill. Oh, yeah, this is that site.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then we have more people rolling in here. Let me just make sure I can recognize our members. I want to make sure that there's no non-paying members in here getting first serve, you know.
Right.
Shouldn't be any non-members. Hi, Wilhelm. Good to see you. We have some certified masters at arms in here. Good to see you, Tom. Terry. Wow. Bunch of people logging in.
Yep.
Let me just see here. Tora. Really good to see you, my friend. I hope that things are going well for you. Steve. Roland is here. It's good. Oscar. Another certified agent, Marcus. Good to see you, Marcus. Hope everything's going well. Another agent, Kevin Polly. Josh. Don, good to see you as well. Been with us a long, long time. Wow, this is really a big. We're gonna.
It's a good size list.
We're gonna fill this up. We're gonna fill this up. It's good to see you, Bob Druschel. All right, I think that's enough. We're just going to go ahead and get started. It's 2 minutes after the hour. And also good to see you, George. It's 2 minutes after the hour.
Hi, Sandra.
And we're just going to jump into anyone who is going to, we've got 2 or 3 websites already, and generally speaking, we only have time for, what do you think, Sue, normally 2 or 3, depends on.
Maybe 3. Although this one that we've got up is a really interesting one. Been chatting back and forth with Bill for a couple of months. As you can tell, he's in a competitive niche, and
quite.
Yeah, and he's done his homework when it comes to finding the panes. Mm-hmm. And as you can see down here, is
love it.
Yeah.
Just love it. He's really nailed the imagery.
Yeah.
Which is something rare for IT and even hosting companies. They suck so bad at picking painkiller pictures, just in general. Some of them do really well, but some of them not so much. So I really like what he did there.
Yeah. And then what we were talking about was what Domain Web Studio was coming back as the recommended amount of on-site content was huge. And so he was asking me, like, how do I do this? Like, how do we get the best of both worlds? And so he's come up with some ingenious solutions that combine both visitor usability and the technical side. And when you can find that sweet spot to get those two things to merge together, then you get a site that's going to rank really nicely. And I believe that he told me his site popped. So he's talking about hidden landing pages. See, managed IT service page. All right.
Okay.
The cursor's right there. Let's go there.
Are you driving direct paid traffic to the hidden landing pages, Bill? I'll let him answer that one.
All right. So he's got... And I suspect that if you're going to find the hidden stuff, you got to look at the source, that it's probably in hidden divs. Like, see here, there's content here.
Yeah, some people are asking what you meant when you say the site has popped.
Oh, rankings.
Target alert.
Yeah, sorry.
It means popped up to the top of the
yes.
top page of the search engine.
His results. He's been a very happy camper with his results. I think that they put their new site up. I don't remember the details, but
Bill
I
was
think
saying something about checking the plus sign. I don't really know what he means.
Plus sign.
Oh, those things, yeah.
I don't think that's a plus sign. Hang on. Let me look for a plus. Nope, it's not actually a plus, so it's got to be a graphic image.
Why are we clicking the plus sign? Oh, because that's the hidden page?
Probably.
Okay. Information library tab, he's saying.
Yeah, that was what I'd found.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's got...
Div layers.
Yeah, it's not actually... Oh, this plus sign. I follow you.
Is that a div layer, Bill? What is...
Yeah, so these are divs. So when you look at... Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Minus this...
I should be able to see a phone number like 10 minutes ago, Bill, just an FYI. Should have already seen it somewhere. I'll stick that up. If you don't have a phone, of course, that would explain it.
So I have the webinar running, but I don't have too much stuff. It has been prompting me to load a new update to Firefox. So maybe that's what's causing the shockwave flash issue. But you might want to check that with a few different browsers and make sure that your page isn't too heavy memory-wise. So like try it on some older computers. And it's completely hung at this point. I hope you guys can still hear me.
Yes, we can. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Yeah. I just wasn't sure if it hung my whole computer or just the browser. So, good. Thanks, Sandra.
Okay.
All right. So,
I don't know what a dibbler is either.
So what So what a div layer is
oh, a div. She thought it said dibbler. Okay, div layer.
Layer.
Sorry.
There we go.
I was mumbling again.
So so these things here are divs. So a div in HTML is simply, it stands for divide, right? So you're creating a division in your page. And you can do all kinds of things with these divisions. Sometimes they don't do squat, right?
Remember that's how we were keyword stuffing in the 80s and the 90s?
Yeah, exactly. So
I would download word tracker entire keyword files and stuff them in the div layer and rank for like half of them.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So what we've got here are two different, most people don't click around too much, right? They just scan the page. And right. They find what they need, and Bob's your uncle. So he's got the most important information right up here, and then he's got all of his supporting information here, and then if you click the plus sign, it brings up even more supporting articles. So they're there, and if somebody lands on them, they can get to the rest of the site from there, but it's not like in your face, here's all my content, 5,432 places for you to go, rather than just, hey, let's just sign up. So I have to agree, the call to action, get started. There's a get started page right here. Free, no obligation, 30-page network assessment. I mean, if that's working, I would be cross-testing that just a little bit.
Yeah, totally. I don't like, can I just be brutally honest, Bill, or should I not be? I should probably lie.
No, you should be.
I should not lie?
You should be brutally honest.
Go for it. Okay. No offense, Bill, but I'm actually coming from a testing perspective. The blue font. I know that blue is okay for IT. Like you can look at a lot of there's a lot of stuff out there from, on color testing. You probably read a lot of the. Bill's like, kill me. You probably read a lot of the stuff, like Andy Jenkins came out with a really intense color palette layout back in the StomperNet era, which is mostly not true, but there were some things in there. The thing is that the blue thick layer is notoriously bad for clarity in tech fields. You may want to consider, and I know you picked blue, and I know it's the color, so I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm just saying that blue is good, but you might want to go a little darker blue so that you can clarify the font. You would do better. I mean, I know you're not a Viagra site or anything like that, okay? But it's
this color blue up here is a little bit better because of the contrast.
That's much better, yeah. And this light blue is hurting my head. I want to leave the site, but I'm not because I'm working with you. But that color is not good. The green button is great. The 100% satisfaction is great. You want to know a crazy thing? I'm just telling you this because I don't know if this is your company or not. If you took out the stock footage of people that looked like they were posers and put in amateurs, you would increase 30% in conversion. Like if you made them like real people instead of guys like, hi, here's a picture. That's just something on the side, and you should know that. Everybody on this call should know that. That's one of the best kept secrets on the new web right now. Use real people, use amateurs. I don't care what industry you're in. It's got a huge amount of conversion higher. It's so much so that it's one of those things where you slap yourself in the face and go, wow, I worked 200 years on this website and had all the perfect stock footage, and then I added Thelma, with spaghetti dripping down on her front, blouse, and she converted 20% better. This is just something that you really need to know about. But
Sandra makes an interesting point. Her nephew can't actually read the light blue. He doesn't see it.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of what I'm looking at is something about font, guys. There's been tons of tests. I had a client who really, really, really liked a black background with white text.
Yeah, don't go there.
Don't go there. And this is not that different. I love you have a white background, but honestly, I can't promise you this, but if you split test this in a few different ways, Bill, and you just with hard black everywhere, people would stay on, your time on site would go up significantly. People would actually read it. Probably more, spend a little bit more time with. I can't promise that, but just remember, don't get fancy with text font ever, you guys. Don't do it. I have consistently seen lower time on site with font that you can't read. People just want to be reading a book when they're reading your stuff. Just the facts, ma'am. Okay, so just keep your text the right color. I'm dealing with a client right now that I don't know how to tell her. She's very, very famous. Like appearing on, The Daily Show and these types of things. She does not know, she just does not want to get rid of the black-blue background with the black font on top of it. She's got this, idea. So I know that there's a lot of things that you have to deal with clients, but one of the things you just want to make sure of is just make sure that it's, just solid and easy to read.
Yeah.
Craig's got a question on backlinks.
Yeah. So there's a couple of other things that I would say. Your get started, this is the thing that's your above the fold call to action, and it's a moving target, and I don't recommend that. You should have something.
Moving?
Yeah, it's on the slider.
No. Yeah.
So either have another one down here or one up here, something that somebody who's not terribly mouse-oriented can get a handle on, or that's just like stationary.
Wow.
The idea that it's orange is great because those things pop.
I love it. And I didn't even see the free no obligation 30. That's how bad the font worked there. It's white on blue. That's got to go to black or something.
Yeah, and I don't see that either. I mean, the things that I see are the ones that are
I didn't even see that
orange.
till just now.
Yeah.
I love the 24/7 globe.
Yeah.
Bill, just love it. But where's the phone number? If it's 24/7, is there no? Kevin McCarthy made a great point. Is there no phone number, or is there?
Right. Well, is there? No, there's. I haven't. Well, not on this page. There's no phone number.
Oh, Bill, that phone number should jump out and grab me by the throat.
There's one way down here.
My head. Yeah, no. Put it up somewhere. That's the first thing I'm going to do.
Up top.
Okay. If I'm not going to call you, then I'm going to click on the.
Oh, it's way up. No. That's white on blue.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I won't see that. I won't even see that line.
Bill, avoid white font at all costs in everything you do for the rest of your life. Put a quarantine on it. Never do it again. Just stop doing it.
All right.
I couldn't believe the conversion rates I saw. It doesn't work.
I'll tell you something else. We one of my sites that gets a really fair amount of traffic, we implemented a star rating. Now he's got 55 reviews, so it's an impressive star rating. He's 5 stars with 55 reviews, so it's impressive. We implemented the metacodes, the microformatting, so that would show up in the SERPs. It showed up. Google was pulling that into the SERPs within 24 hours, and today was the first day that I stopped to look back. So that they started showing up Saturday morning, and Saturday, Sunday, and Monday we had between 20 and 30% more traffic than we do. Our days are pretty consistent across the board. Like you can pretty much peg those his traffic by the day of the week, and so I can go back and look at what that traffic's been for the last month. And weekends we were up 30%. Yesterday we were up 20%. So I gotta say, star ratings, I'm completely sold at this point.
Yeah, the micro formats work really well. Sue and I just installed one in a plugin that we're building for video automation. Oh, did I say that out loud? And it's going to be really nice because you just got to use it. It's working so well. We don't know if it'll work forever, but I don't see microformatting go away. Do you?
Oh, no. It's just coming of age. So there's a couple of things here that I would stick in your microformatting because it's really important. And one is the 24/7 support. That should be like down here at the bottom, and it should be microformatted so that they can see right on the SERPs that you're 24/7. Yeah. And if you're at all locale specific, then that should be microformatted. Your phone number should be microformatted, and then all of that stuff starts to show up in the SERPs. I tell you what, I had 2 toilets break this morning, and I have a plumber that is usually my go-to people, but they're not the quickest thing on the planet, right? And I need, I'm sitting in the bathroom doing the bucket brigade boogie, right? So I need somebody right now.
Yeah, it's a big issue for the whole company. We've been at a standstill.
No, this is an AdWords comment, okay? I went to Google, and I Googled plumbers, and I dialed the first one with a phone number on the SERPs.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. I do all the time as well.
They didn't answer the phone. So after the second time of, please hold the call, we'll be right with you, I hung up. I hit the next one. They answered the phone immediately. The plumber was here in 20 minutes. I'm sold. I'm loyal to this company for a dang long time at this point, right?
You just know if they have their phone number on the SERPs, they answer the phone, and they're there in 20 minutes that they're a good company.
It's just like if you're in a market that's got pain, then make sure that you're providing all of the information that person needs to close the sale right from the SERPs page. Now, on the downside, one of the things that happened to me by doing that with one of my clients are guinea pigs. They know that, so I'll say this on the call. But one of my guinea pigs is the click-through rate started to fall, right? And when the click-through rate started to fall, the rankings started to fall. So this is the same company that we just put the star rating in, and so now the click-throughs are back up. And so it's a little bit of a catch-22. Like, you got to implement several things, but what is microformatting?
Well, guys, we
Oh,
have a nice link in the members area. Just go to the
yeah.
microformatting page. It's too complex to explain right here. I'll try to find the link while Sue's talking. Where'd you stick that? It was under niche
It's
automation,
under local business.
local leads, local search empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll drop you guys the link here for the microformatting so we don't have to get too into it. But it's a pain in the butt until you understand it. But once you do, it's like really cool, and it's part of. Oh, you're gonna grab it? Okay, then I won't do any work at all.
Well, you were talking, so it was perfect.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I can't. I don't know where it is anyways. I'd have to dig. But microformatting is not just for the star rating. Have you guys ever gone to Google, like an Amazon product, and it's got a rating, a star rating of like 5 or 4, and you click on it because it's got a high star rating? We can show you an example. That's a microformat that allows that star rating to be indexed in the search engine. Does that make sense? It's a special format. Google, have you ever seen that picture next to your name on a Google Plus entry when you're in Google Plus mode, and there's a photograph there, an author markup tag? That's a form of microformatting.
Rich snippets, yeah, that's another name for it.
Rich snippets is actually a better name. Thank you, Talal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got some good stuff on here.
Yeah, this is the page, and I go into quite a bit of detail. Now, this is coming from the perspective of local, so I'm talking particularly, this is an example of what the search engine looks like, and all of the kind of good stuff that you can get. I mean, you can get more than that. You can actually have your products show up with prices if you've got everything, or your hours, and just whatever you've got in microformats, and they're expanding the things that you can put in microformats all the time. So if you don't see anything relevant there now, check back in a couple of months. So down here at the bottom,
I predict that they will eventually show website homepage image thumbs in microformat.
So here's some of the other stuff. You get manufacturer's suggested retail price, and then you get their price, right? So you can see, you can shop just right smack from the SERPs.
Without even clicking through, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
It's nuts, and it's getting worse. It's the truth of video thumbs. You guys know why I'm so hot on video thumbs being indexed on the regular legacy Google engine using the Yoast SEO video plugin. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That's, it's because there's so much, people decide they can actually click the bottom of the search engine result page instead of even the top ranking because of a better image. It's true with Rich Snippet is times 100 with that because you can have ratings and opinions and social proof. So definitely something I want to look. Hey, Sue, did you drop that link into the...
I did. And I just want to show you guys that down here at the bottom of the page is everything you really need to go crazy with this stuff. The complete Google write-up for the products and offers, and the rich snippets testing tool, which is really important. You come here and you just drop your link in here that you've got, and you put your rich snippets in someplace, and you want to make sure that they're right. You do the preview here, and then you don't have to wait for Google to index you or not index you. You know right away what it is that Google's going to see, and Bob's your uncle. So, and somebody asked me if I recommend a plugin, and I tell you what, it's
for what?
For rich snippets for microformatting.
Did you drop that link in there?
I dropped the link for this page. Yes.
Okay, I'm just not seeing it. No worries.
Oh, I dropped it over in the global chat thing.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay, and I hope they don't make me write a plugin. That's all I got to say.
No, Talal is saying something about Yoast. Yoast, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, Yoast, what are you talking about? Talal, what are you talking about? Are you talking about a rich snippet plugin?
Yeah, he's saying that Yoast plugin might have.
Well, he has, the SEO plugin has an open graph access to it. But I haven't seen any of. I thought I knew his stuff very, very well because I just helped him update the video.
It would be in the SEO one if it's anywhere.
No, there's no rich snippet in there, as far as I know. Talal, if I'm wrong, you're winning the prize because I don't see it in here. I mean, I'm pretty much in there like 90% of my time, so I don't know of any rich snippet in there.
Yeah, I don't know of any. Like, there's GD star ratings is one, right? That'll get you stars.
Yeah, GD totally uses it.
The
local SEO plugin might. I have not looked at the local SEO plugin, Talal. If that's the one you're talking about, that very well might have local rich snippets in it. I don't know, though. I haven't checked it. Kevin, does it?
SEO Ultimate.
It does.
Yeah, I wondered if SEO Ultimate had it. I thought I saw it. But then I also know SEO Ultimate's got other stuff in there, too.
Yeah, I just downloaded the local one, Kevin. I haven't looked into it, so thank you for
Okay.
Kevin and Polly is saying it.
Right,
Totally
right.
does.
Okay, good.
Okay, nice.
Um,
SEO Presser. Yeah, I looked at SEO Presser.
yeah,
I hate
I,
SEO Presser.
I've also seen a lot of themes coming out with microformatting embedded in them.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that kind of seems to be a more intelligent way, or at least a more user-friendly, let's put it that way, more user-friendly way to go than any of the plugins that I've seen. But I admit I haven't tried Yoast's Professional, the paid premium plugin.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I tell you what, the jury's still out on plugins. Check back in next month. We'll be further down that path.
So that means officially Sue is not making a statement because she has to look at them. So we'll have her look at the local one. And also, yeah, SEO Presser also has her snippets. So
I
we'll
appreciate all the feedback here. Yeah, I'll take a look at this feedback once over the course of this next month, and we'll have a statement for you next month about what stays and what goes. Okay, so that was the comment that I wanted to make about.
Bill has asked one more question.
Yeah.
He wanted to know if there's a way to get. Bill, you want to rephrase that question? I can probably answer it on Google+. Google+ is, I got to tell you, you need to have a lot of real people in your circles. Okay, so try to take time to do 50 to 100. The question, guys, was how do you get Google+'s ranked better and more highly in the search engines? And what I want to do is just make sure that you have a clear understanding of the things that you definitely need to do. And one of those is you need to have, continue to add circles and interact with it. Definitely use our hint Google Plus RSS maker. Turn your Google Plus feed into an RSS feed and submit it to the RSS directories. That will give you a little kick. You also want to make sure that your About Us page on the Google Plus is verified and that you start adding your top-level WR1 pages to the About Us. Okay, he says he's not getting ranked in Google Plus. Our competitor has less than we have. Less what? I'm not following you. Not getting ranked in Google Plus. Our competitor has less what? I don't know what you mean.
Pluses.
Pluses? Okay, you're talking about people plussing you. Now that's a whole can of worms that we could get into here. Okay, this is going to get very interesting. They have less followers. Okay, followers are important. I thought you were talking about pluses and followers. The main thing you got to make sure is that there is actually over the next couple of years and now you're going to see the quality of plussing make a huge difference. We know actually that the quality of plussing, because there's general pluses. Anybody can plus, Bill, and they don't even have to be a Google verified name, and they don't have to be even logged into Google when they're plussing. This is where it gets really weird. So there's superficial plussing and there's verified plussing, and the quality of the pluses that your competitor has is probably far superior to yours. This is a guess, and I wouldn't know unless I looked at the situation. Okay, I would have to actually tell. I wouldn't be able to. Also, remember backlinking. Excuse me. Backlinking to pluses is also very important. They don't have any. What do you mean?
What's a keyword that you're after? Let me look at the SERPs and see what you're talking about with the Google Plus stuff.
They don't have any either what?
Managed IT services.
Okay, but I don't understand, Bill. What are you saying? They don't have any either any what? Followers?
All right, so
yeah, there's no pluses for that term anyway.
no.
So I'm not really sure what. Hey, Bill, this is actually fairly complex, and people are seeing different things about different parts of the world. There's logged in versus logged out. Are you talking about once you're logged in? It gets really, really weird. Google is actually complex right now.
And it's going to get worse.
It's going to get way worse. I mean, right now for video, you can take video ranking, and half of your audience will see your video ranked, and the other half won't. It depends on where they are. So what I'm really wanting to point out here is if you send us the exact screen grab of
Okay.
what you're seeing, at some point we might be able to address it.
So let me just talk for a little bit about that, what it is that I'm seeing and what it is that I'm hearing through the rumor mills and what I'm distilling out of what Google really means. Search as we know it is going away, and it's going away pretty quickly.
Yep.
And they're trying to tie everybody to a real honest-to-goodness identity. And so one of the best things that you can do...
It'll be called Google Verified Name, folks.
One of the best things that you can do is the CEO of this company stands up and takes responsibility for it. They create their account on Google, they verify that account, and they tie not only this website but every single third-party platform, all the places where you have accounts, you tie it all together and you say, this is me and my whole identity. And this gives you extra kudos. And I believe, it's my own personal opinion, that those kudos are going to get stronger as the summer wears on. So
They will.
I know that Matt Cutts is talking about getting rid of keywords and going toward things. Rather than searching for keywords, searching for things. And that was a concept that I turned over in my head and in my sleep for weeks, because I'm like, every keyword is a thing, right? Nobody searches for purple. You search for purple widgets. Widgets are already a thing. And so I'm sitting there trying to think about what the heck he could mean by a thing rather than a keyword. And as I'm watching what the last updates are doing, and as I'm seeing where the personalized searches are going and all of this, I believe that what they're doing is in a very semantic indexing way. They're connecting people with things. They're connecting people with their companies, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. We've created some problems with your statement, so I just need to clarify before you go further.
Okay.
People are freaking.
Oh.
Folks, search is not going away. Universal search is.
Universal search is pretty much gone.
We're speaking about universal search. Many of you on this call, not all of you, the advanced members on this call know that if Bill shoots me a keyword and expects me to see his Google Plus, his competitor's Google Plus for that term, where he can see it where he's at, that I'm not necessarily going to. There's too many variables between by the time that link gets to Sue and myself. Are we logged in? Are we logged out? Which setting are we on? You know, are we on, you know, there's all these different things. Where are we located in the world?
Exactly.
What locale? What's the local search? So we're not saying that search is going away. What we're saying, and this is for Jerry Lee as well, what we're saying is that the predictability of everybody on the planet getting the results that you're seeing through your browser. You know, it's kind of like in 1990, when Sue and I were first working, we would rank number 9 in Mozilla and number 2 in Explorer for the same term. Okay, and the variable was the browser, right? You guys get that? Well, now there's about 90 different other variables that Google has contributed to. There's local, there's Google Plus, there's now what Sue is saying, that not only are there local geographic locations that now Google gets a piece of and modifies before they even get to the end result browser, where all of us are trying to say, you know, wow, when we see there's 50,000 search on a keyword, if we can just get ranked for that term, everybody will see that term at that ranking, and that's, you know, predictably. That's what's changed, is you have to account for all these variables. And what Sue is saying, and I have validated and verified, is that Google is moving towards verified name on everything because they'll be able to filter, this is called cybernetics, human and machine world, they'll be able to filter and provide more clear and trustworthy results to users who have verified their accounts. This is why every time you log into YouTube, they say, Theme Zoom, are you sure you don't want to change your name to Sue Bell? No, please, really, no, please, we insist. No, are you sure?
Why don't you want to admit that you're Sue Bell? What is it that you're trying to do? Like, they think of you as third degree.
I couldn't even, don't even get me frickin' started. I could not even find the click away in the YouTube thing to say, look, I'm a brand, I'm not Sue Bell. Okay, so here's what's happening. This is what Sue's trying to say. The accountability matrix is the only thing left standing, and they're investing billions through Google Plus to make sure that people will be verified for what they are. Okay, Twitter's trying to do the same thing. They're doing everything in their power to connect you to some kind of straw man somewhere that's going to become accountable to who you are. Okay, and if you just don't freak out about that and you don't worry about that and you think clearly with your company from the top down and at least have some entity represent that persona, Sue and I call it personas, right?
Yeah.
Then you're going to be fine. If you freak out about it, and I'm not even saying your personas have to be real, I'm just saying that eventually at your WR1 level you've got to have a true accountability matrix and a verified name. Okay, the celebrities were the first ones through the door at the verified names on Google+. Now they're going to be moving to everybody else, just like all the other companies have been doing. So what I'm trying to tell you, Bill, is that a lot of the things that we're finding get really excellent rankings are when you stop messing around with Google+ and you have a single ground zero verified location, which should be either your Google+ business page or preferably your Google+ personal identity, which is your google.com/dashboard to your major core WR1 account.
Yep, you want to connect all that.
Your google.com/dashboard has changed over the last 3 years. I've watched it every week closely. What they've removed from it tells us more, tells Sue and I more than what they've kept.
Yeah.
What they have removed is all your primary, secondary, and tertiary relationships and social media networks through your Google account, your Google+. They removed incredible amounts of very compromising data. Okay, they just took it off the grid. It's not available to you now. Well, what that tells us is that they're moving towards a verified identity to hold you accountable, at least on one of your accounts, to your business. Now, there's all kinds of benefits with that from your business to local. Okay, local, Sue, you should tell them like what happened to some of your clients during the local accountability where he didn't have the mailing address tied. I mean, how much traffic he lost because he wasn't willing to be accountable.
So here's the thing. He was this is about a year ago. He wanted to do franchises, and so he wanted to start ranking for these cities where he was going to have a franchise but didn't have one yet because he wanted to be able to show the people that were going to buy the franchises that there was traffic and there's, basically here's a business in a box. So I said, okay, what you can probably do right now and for a very limited time is go rent a P.O. box at one of these places that isn't a P.O. box, but you don't have to say that it's a P.O. box, but they'll actually let you put in a street address with a suite number. So he went out and he did that for all, 30 cities or so that he wanted to franchise in, and it worked for a little while. And now that's gone. They have cross-referenced and verified that those addresses are post office places, post office entities, not UPS, U.S. Postal Service, but just other third-party postal services. They've put everything into their database. They've cross-referenced and checked, and they flagged all of his accounts, including the ones that had honest-to-goodness addresses, and he had to go back in and re-verify everything. And because he is a verified business, they did actually get on the phone with him, which I've had other clients where they won't even get on the phone with him, and he got walked through, and he got his real honest-to-goodness locales reinstated, but everything else is gone. So, and the interesting thing is he was getting a lot of traffic off of those other Google Places postings, right? He was in the maps and he was in places, and so he was showing up in the map pack and getting a substantial amount of traffic. And so now he's had to go to do some local advertising in order to recoup that traffic in those areas. So the moral to that story is that they're getting very smart and they're starting to cross-check everything, and you actually need real honest-to-goodness bona fide addresses. You can probably still get away with renting a desk in an office, but I think very shortly they're going to really tighten the screws. So I just want to go totally 100% the other side of the equation for a moment. I don't know if you guys know about DuckDuckGo. It's an up-and-coming search engine, and it's because of this, and it's because of NSA and all of that other stuff. Like DuckDuckGo is what Google used to be when Google started, right? They're just a search engine. They do have ads. You can you can buy pay-per-click on them. I imagine it's still very inexpensive. They crossed 2 million searches a day about a month ago, and very few days after that they They broke 3 million searches a day. So there's a lot of
You want to
people
spell that for everybody?
DuckDuckGo, DuckDuckGo.com. And I would say, if nothing else, like, seize the moment and buy some pay-per-click over there. Check what your rankings are. I don't know yet. I haven't fiddled around with it enough yet to say this is how you get ranked well. The sites that I'm working on where I've had a lot of input and they're structured, they got a good solid silo structure and solid inbound links, they're ranking very well on DuckDuckGo. So I don't think you're going to have a problem if you follow just standard SEO procedures, ranking well over there. Pay-per-click's probably cheap. And I would imagine that if Google makes a misstep, these are going to be guys that are going to acquire a fair chunk of the market share just because of their policies.
Yeah, and Sue, also talk a little bit. This is highly relevant. And then I'm going to get into a 100,000 foot view on all of this.
Okay.
Get into a little bit about the hosting in countries. You and I have dealt with this before. Mm-hmm. If you don't, like for example, if your server's in the United States, but your business is in Canada. Remember that time we were also dealing with Italy and France?
Yep.
Because there's a lot of different things going on here. Like Sandra is saying, okay, I'm in France, the results are different. Well,
completely.
There's a French search engine, there's a French language engine, but there's also Googling using the American regular engine in France. So talk a little bit about what we discovered with hosting and all that.
So in a perfect world, if you want to get hosted in Spain, if you want to get ranked in Spain, you're going to have your hosting in Spain. If you want to get ranked in the U.S., you're going to have your hosting in the U.S. It makes it really interesting for international companies who service multiple countries, and they want to have a single hosting account, which makes sense to me. They will get ranked, but they'll have a steeper climb in other countries. And in that case, if they're in the U.S., go for U.S. hosting because it's still the most competitive market. That's one of the reasons why in Kraken and in TLKT we have you select your language and your country to do your keyword research in, because then what we do is we come in here to the advanced settings and we actually look at everything. We set your language and we set your region and we bring you back the results for that, because that's who your competitors actually are. You're not competing with American companies if you're trying to rank in France. Or if you are, they don't have nearly the advantage that you will have being a French company and hosted in France. You're going to get, with Google's algorithms, you will get premium consideration. Does that cover everything that you wanted me to say?
Yeah, that's good. And just keeping in mind that there's language issues, and there's a lot of issues even using translation softwares on your site. When you're not in the country of that language. I mean, it's complex, so we're not going to get into that too much. But yeah, Sandra, we're not going to get too much into this.
Yeah, you can have subdomains with different languages. That's the easiest way to address that.
Yeah, exactly. But you should have a subdomain, which is my point.
Yeah.
And you have a client in France set up at mysite.fran. We have to do hosting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which you should, which is better anyways, because you're going to get indexed in mysite.fr if the language is French that you're writing your HTML in. And anyway, let's go back, since we're going to be losing Sue. She's been up all night. I want to make sure that we go through. Can we go through one more site?
Yep, absolutely.
I do want to step back and give a 100,000-foot view on the identity thing, because if we could just set aside SEO for a quick second. Please understand that I am not all about, compromising your personal identity, and you know all the conspiracy theories. I know you guys are all on the web, so you all read the Facebook feeds, right? I mean, it's all infiltrated there. What I'm trying to say is that I don't care what you do offline to protect your identity. There's amazing books, like our buddy J.J. Luna wrote a book called How to Be Invisible, all these different things. Whatever degree of freaked outness you have about the bringing down of the world kind of walls, from one country. We're basically moving into a new globalism, right? And identity is basically still segmented through country based, but the world is actually becoming smaller. And neither Sue or myself are really ultimately negative about where things could be going, but there are considerations about privacy. Okay, many of you probably research privacy issues. I'm not speaking to how you set up your corporate entities and your privacy. There's a lot of ways to make the Google/dashboard account that you're holding as accountable to your identity safe for yourself. I just want to put a disclaimer here because Sue and I are not addressing that. There's all kinds of ways. You can put it through a corporate entity. You can have a representative. You can use a CEO. For example, in our WR2 sites, you can either use staff members or pseudonyms. There's a lot of different things that we teach at our live certification events. My point here is that once you know that something is verified, what verified is going to become is they're going to try to tie you down to what's called the tyranny of location. They're going to try to nail you down to a physical location. And as soon as they do that, they've got you. Okay? So what you need to do is look clearly into how you would like to set up. To me, that's a great reason to have a corporate headquarters or to have an affiliate with a location. That's one of the things that I do. Just because I'm running a business doesn't mean that the location is where I live, right? Okay.
Right.
You don't have to set that all up. That's the great thing about being in business is tie your local, because I'm Sandra, I'm trying to answer your question. You don't have to have a U.S. a physical address yourself. There are ways for you to deal with that. And really specifically what I was speaking to was local search is where Sue was noticing major problems. With local search, when you're wanting to do the local search and follow all the local search rules, it's really about local. So it's going to be even more important for you to have a local address if you're going to get all the benefits of using Google Local.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So I'm not saying you should freak out. I'm just saying that if you're specifically dealing with local search, addresses become hypercritical because that's the level that you're doing business. And if you're doing national and international work, you just need to have an identity, a corporate identity. And a CEO is what Sue was saying, a CEO or somebody in-house that's going to represent your spokesperson, your brand identity that's going to be verified. And your biz page, your local biz page doesn't even have to be a person. It can be your corporate brand. So that's what you need to think through very carefully from the top down is how you're going to brand with Google and what you're going to be accountable to and for. And is it going to be a persona or is it going to be a brand flag? Okay, and we talk about all this in our certification event, which I know that you all are going to be attending coming up here.
Exactly. They're going to get more exciting, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, we cover a lot of this. People loved our identity coverage at the event. So.
Yeah,
all right, so shall we try one more before you crash
about that.
Yeah, don't get us started.
Our outsourcers have been doing a lot with personas and with real CEOs in terms of setting up accounts, and that should probably be next month's conversation, but I can just say it's really, really interesting because if you have a person that's representing more than one company, it gets, there's some of the setup on some of the third-party platforms becomes challenging.
Like I answered that question to you this morning, Sue, is like why I don't use Facebook to sign up for multiple social accounts. Because like for example, these are just the things you don't know until you know. Facebook is hell on wheels when it comes to verifying your phone numbers. Compared to Google, they're just like hell. I mean, you can't have multiple Facebook personal identities and then try to tie a phone number, the same phone number, to application interfaces that you create across multiple identities, personalized identities in Facebook. And you don't know that until you're about to shoot yourself in the head like I did sometime last September. I almost jumped off
a very tall building.
A bridge here. It was so painful. Because Google is really nice. Google is at least sane. They're like, okay, you might have multiple Gmail accounts with the same phone number because you might be a big company because everybody uses Gmail, right? Facebook, no.
Right.
So when you try to create, so all of a sudden you connect like 200 different social media accounts with one, with you're trying to do multiple Facebook user identities. Well, when you go to create an application for Facebook to interact directly, and not that you should, by the way, that's a different topic, and you try to put your phone number in to protect it, which they require when you're creating certain kinds of apps, they say, you've already tried this phone number to 14 different apps. Sorry, you can't, or to 2 other, you can't do this. They know what you're up to because they've tied the personal fan page, and they're like, this is what Facebook is literally saying. They're literally saying, nobody should have more than one Facebook identity, which is terms of service.
Right.
Well, there's no way to really, come on, give me a break. So the point here is they've tied that down to your phone number, and when you know that going in, which is what we teach, that will affect how you set up your persona.
Exactly.
And which social media platforms you set up and in which order.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that next month if you guys have questions, because if we don't move on to the site, we won't get anywhere today. So this is Guy Porter's site, and my first impression is really good. It's a very nice squeeze page. You got the video, you got the opt-in, you got the arrow. It's red call to action, going to draw the eye. This is going to draw the interest. It's not a never-ending scrolling sales page. You do have some other things up here so that I can click around and verify that you are who you are. Perfect. Anything you want to add to that thumbnail analysis of this page, Russ?
Sorry, I was answering a question and I didn't hear anything
sorry.
you said.
Okay. Basically, this page is really good. Like, it's got the video, it's got the opt-in. The opt-in is red.
Hey, is this Guy's page?
This is Guy's page, yep.
Oh yeah, finally he finished it.
Excellent. So then I clicked to the next page I clicked to was FAQs, and it's interesting. Okay, we've got your FAQs there. That's great. I didn't really read them, I have to admit, because I was just kind of skimming the site. There's no call to action here, like at all. The link at the bottom just sends me back to the home page. That sends me to an about page. That sends me to the home page. That sends me to the... Wait. Move. Oh, this sends me to a different site. This sends me to... Is that going to send me to a different domain? It is. Oh, interesting.
I saw this before, Guy, during our consult. Why are you doing that?
Some secondary partnered with to provide family consultations with VA accredited. Okay, so he's just doing a little bit of what's the word that I want here? Trust building kind of a thing.
Okay.
Partnered with, and we're consultations with. So
yeah, right. I remember.
Yeah, that's fine. So
you're saying that they actually send clients to those pages. Oh yeah, so pay-per-click goes to the landing pages.
Yeah.
All right.
So
gotcha.
This page also, as I click through all the rest of the pages, none of the other pages have a call to action. And I think even if it's just really subtle, you ought to have a little, like if your option here is to get them to opt in, and by hitting one of the other pages they decide, yeah, I want to opt in, they should be able to opt in right there. They shouldn't have to go back to the home page. I also think, like, I don't know how competitive the keywords are that you're after, but the content seems a little bit weak. The pages just aren't. There's not enough content on the pages to really support what it is you're trying to do. If you throw in a video, and I would also throw in at least an image.
Yeah, he knows to do that.
Okay, good.
I mean, he better, because we spent 2 hours talking about it.
Okay.
So here's the thing, Guy.
If this is way competitive,
yeah, it is.
If this is way competitive, this is not nearly enough content. You won't get ranked for anything. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm oftentimes blunt at this point in time of the day, but
and you need to add videos to your pages that are tagged properly for theme. You know, video is currently and probably will be for the next couple of years a huge asset for ranking.
Let me just show you something. Is VA benefits the keyword that you're going after? Just going to assume that it is. Okay. So let me just do a quickie search here. And you've got a .gov site, which is number one. They're not going to be your competitors. .gov site, .gov site, .gov site, .gov, 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 .gov. You know you're not going to make it on the front page of that keyword, right? Like, you're not going to outrank the .govs, because if Google has decided that this is an information keyword, then they're going to only put .govs on the front page.
Aid and attendance, he's saying. VA aid and attendance?
Oh. All right, let's try that instead of benefits.
Yeah.
Let's try VA aid. Okay, VA aid, that's a little bit better. We've got .orgs, benefitva.org, veteranaid.org. Let me just look at the first site and see if they're competitors or not. All right, this does not look like anything like a .gov site, so all right, good. So we've got a PageRank 4 here.
Yeah, it's doable.
It is doable, but not with a 5-page site. And
No.
that's all I'm trying to get at. Let me come back here and look at your other domain, because this is a subdomain. And so...
But it will be, you're still on the wrong keyword. It is aid in attendance. I think he's trying to get the whole thing.
The whole thing? Oh,
yeah.
Long tail, okay.
Yeah, which will be doable.
You got the same site in position number 1.
Okay, yeah, so they've got it shingled.
Let's just look at number 2. You still got a PageRank 4 in number 2. That's a .gov. Oops. Remind me about that tab. I'll come back to it. .gov. .com. Okay, so you could make it above the fold. This guy's a PageRank 1. It looks like this is a 60-page site, just from what I'm watching them say on the homepage. I could be way wrong, like they might just be inflating that number. Let me just look here for a second. Whoops, that's not going to get me what I want. Uh, 30 pages. So your top competitor's got a 30-page site. Just an FYI, I know you got a silo site. Well, you don't actually have a silo site. You got 5 pages. And under each one of these, you don't have any supporting pages, so it's technically not siloed. All right? You just got a 6-page site. So if you're up against a 30-page site, you're going to need another 25 pages. Or you're going to need a bunch of inbound links. I would actually say that you're probably going to need more pages, regardless. I don't see that. I would say if you put under each one of these silos, each one of these 3 categories up here, if you put at least 3 pages, then you would be starting to move into a place where you could see whether or not you're going to need to put more content. So that's what I would do. I would start with 9 more pages, 3 in each one of these silos, and see how your site does. And if you're not moving up in the keywords that you want to be moving up in, then add some more content. I had the most amazing thing happen to me over the course of the last 2 months. One of my sites, just out of the blue, started to rank. And the rankings were moving up. He had more and more keywords in the number 1 position. And of course, I patted myself on the back. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. Mind you, I didn't have hardly anything going on with the site, but I'm just thinking, all right, Google's finally acknowledging all the hard work that I've put in over the last period of time. And they're finally catching on that the site's really worthwhile and blah, 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 and giving us the kudos that we deserve. And then with the last... whatever the black and white animal was, panda update that we had about a month ago, all of that work went away. And I was just like, I never get hit by pandas and penguins. And so I'm just sitting there going, okay, what the heck happened? It took me the longest time to actually figure out what happened. I was digging around in Webmaster Tools on a completely unrelated topic. Russ was engaging me in a conversation on ranked pages, and I just happened to flip to that site, because you can be on a page and flip through all of your sites to see what's going on. And as I flipped into that site, I realized that as we started to increase in rankings, we have out there like, I don't know, 2,000 legacy pages. It's in excess of 1,500 legacy pages. And what Google had decided in their infinite headbangingness was to index 1,000 of those pages just out of the blue. So they added 1,000 pages to our website, which of course adds to the page rank, because you've got all of these index pages now that even if they're page rank 0, they're indexed, so they're providing link juice. and pushed all of our rankings up. And then a month later with Panda Update, Google looked at the site again and said, oh, these 1,000 pages, they're crap, and de-indexed those 1,000 pages, and boom, we fell. So, like, to me, that was just one of those classic examples of what content on your site will do for you. These were legacy pages. These were not siloed pages. They weren't part of the main site, although they all linked back up to the home page, so it provided an intrinsic link juice. But it's just like content. Like, there's nothing like it, and I'm not telling you guys to go out and put 1,000 pages on your site. I know you, well, I'll send me letter
No, but I would on their WR2s.
Well, absolutely. And then
pipe
that link juice up to your WR1.
I mean, geez Louise, every single video and title will get indexed immediately.
Yeah, but
and if you have content with that video, you're just going to crush it.
Exactly. And what I would do on this WR1 is I would add some more content. It's just that the amount of content that you have on your pages is thin, and the number of pages you have is thin, and you're going to have a real uphill battle trying to get past that #1 competitor.
And
legacy pages. Okay, so this site, let me just say that because that is a confusing point. Sorry, Russ. We completely redid the site. We installed a new blog. His whole old site was there. We installed a new blog. We installed it at the root, and there's still a link out there to all of the old pages. So the old site is all out there. As I said, it's a huge site, and I want to go in and do redirects on all of those pages because some of them have page rank and some of them have traffic, and I didn't want to just lose it, but I also didn't have the manpower or the time really to be able to focus on that job because it was so huge. So we just left the legacy pages out there, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and Guy, the main thing on your thing is, because I know your case pretty well because we've talked about it, is to get really super high quality information that I know is in your head because you're a master at this. And I don't want you to, one of the coolest things to do is take one of your videos where you're talking, like take that FAQ page and do a video on it. And if you don't want to be in front of the camera, although I think you do pretty well that way, you're actually a very human person. You're very easy to understand. Like, I almost wanted to buy stuff from you when I was talking to you. You know, I don't even need that thing, so you're good. In other words, you get the persuasion of this. But you're also very educational. The way that I like to do it is when people are overthinking it is take those FAQs and start answering them. Even if you just do an audio like SoundCloud and then turn it into like a video with a slideshow or in a PowerPoint presentation, do that and put that there. Make sure you start driving traffic to that video. Embed that video into that page, but then transcribe. Don't do a direct transcription. Like, don't use those horrible annotation or those, you know, the new YouTube. You know, make sure that it's go through it and rewrite the answers, or have an outsourced person go through and just provide incredibly good information from an expert that only an information expert could. And when you're talking, use as many of the words and the latent semantic spread and the topics that are related to that particular term. And of course, research that with TLKT and Kraken. So you might give yourself a little framework, but don't let that framework drive the persuasion because you're too good at what you do. And make sure that the content is very readable. Sometimes when you try to type direct transcriptions from what you read into from what you're saying in person, it doesn't translate that well. So go through and make it a very readable version of what you've just said in the video, and you'll find that that's the best content ever. Sue and I have found that subject matter experts, prima donnas, who just are experts in their field, are the best source of content ever. And again, this connects to the way that Google is starting to think, where they're connecting people to verification, because people are, everything's moving towards a people engine, you guys.
Yeah.
It's not only about a search engine, it's about what is the true assets in the human race are what's up inside our heads. Google's just trying to find a way to get all those archived, okay? So some of our work here is about, and Sue and I do this a lot at the certification event and the branding event, is getting what's out in your head as experts or in the person that you've joint ventured with who's the expert. You don't have to be the master, okay? But you have to know where the information is. Get it out of their heads onto the page, and then you have the general structure, which his general structure is pretty much laid out more or less correctly, right?
Yeah.
So just get the rich...
You just need some long tails underneath this and some supporting concepts.
Yeah. Take the time, guy, that you need. Do the video. Get it out of your head. I've been telling you this since our first 2 consults, guy. It's like all of it. If I could, you know, it's almost like going over to our friends at the Expert Academy, right? And you know, you don't have to pay $50,000 to learn what he's telling you right now. Although you're welcome to, he's a great guy. But what you're going to learn at Experts Academy is to do what I just told you, guy. Is to get in front of the camera. Become a little bit of a speaker. Sue will sometimes tell our students, yeah, if you're going to be speaking a lot, go to Toastmasters or do something, right? Learn to, you know, speak a little bit better. But even if you don't want to do that, find a subject matter expert, get it out of your head, and if you don't like doing video, do a slideshow. If you don't like doing a slideshow, type it. Give yourself a script. People who are really bad in front of camera, which, Guy, you're not. I'm just talking to other people on the call. If you're bad in front of the camera and you don't speak improv very well, it's been shown that scripting gets the point across much clearer, much faster. That's what the cue cards are for in Toastmaster. Just remember, at the end of the day, you're talking to human beings, and you want to do it with the language of your industry. And when you put that in there and type it out, I've spent whole days, you can ask Sue, I've spent whole days typing out, just working on one video that Sue has talked about something in natural language processing or whatever, and trying to make it understandable to the ordinary person. And it was worth it, because that page under the video with her and I talking gets indexed so quickly. Yeah. And not only that, because the content is so great, like our wiki is one of the most highly trafficked sites that we have. Yep. Because the content is just straightforward, rich, and long tail rich.
And so I just want to say something, because I know you guys are probably a lot like me. There's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough days in the week. And the thing that always seems to slide off the plate the fastest is creating content, talking about the stuff I need to talk about, doing the kind of stuff that Russ was just talking about. And what's really...
It's the most important on my day.
Yeah, I know. And so what's really important, or what's really helpful to me, is for Russ to grab me and say, look, like, just let's do this audio. Like, just give me 10, 15 minutes, and let's talk about this. You're talking to me about it. Like, let's just record it. And so we just pause long enough for him to hit a record button. We get it recorded, and he either makes a video out of it, or we send it off and get it outsourced. And I don't have to deal with it.
You want to know? Should we tell them how great we should? We should tell them.
Yeah.
Okay, we call it the bad hair day method.
Exactly.
Okay. You guys would not believe it. I mean, we're moving to a point. This is why YouTube Hangouts are going to become so popular when they get their act together with the technology, which is not yet, by the way. Capturing information from experts at the speed of thought without reducing it to total crap. In other words, you just don't want to you don't want a camera on in your office all the time where everybody's just capturing everything all the time. That's the next step, right? Living out loud.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a Netflix video called Living in Public. You might want to watch. It's kind of funny, about a social experiment where everybody's just online all the time. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is knowing, because you've researched in Kraken or TLKT, what the keyword is. If I called Guy right now, Guy Porter, on the phone right now, and he's the one whose site we're looking at, he's also a client. He's an expert in this field, and he's very compelling of a speaker about what to do with your money in certain situations. He's the guy that I'm going to go to under these circumstances, okay? And this is not the only circumstances that you're seeing today. If I called him, because I know the keywords that are the most profitable from Kraken, Total Search Market Value, and Pain Finder software, I'm going to have a list of 4 questions. And because I'm an expert interviewer, I'm going to know exactly what to ask, and I'm going to draw him out. And he doesn't even have to be on camera. I can just email him the questions that I'm going to ask him ahead of time. He can create a couple. He doesn't even have to create a PowerPoint presentation. He can just do tabs in a browser and talk about different sites and a few images, and just use the tabs in your browser as the conversational pieces. And what I do is I use Camtasia, and I capture the tabs, or he can capture the tabs while I'm talking to him and just having a conversation. Keep it under 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm just asking him like a client would ask him, like he's videotaping a conversation with a client. And we're capturing it. If you have a good interviewer, what you're going to have in that conversation is a great video with great audio that does need to be carefully retyped and transcribed. But that information, that content is so rich when it's rewritten for the HTML page that you've got a video, an interview, a compelling subject matter expert conveying important, frequently asked questions that goes to YouTube, that has great text to go with it, and answers all of the questions that I might add and gets indexed very, very quickly in a website silo architectural structure. That's the fastest way that I know. And you know what's crazy? Those things convert like crazy. Bill, I knew an IT company, it was really funny, an IT company that was actually a Kraken user early on. They went up against a larger company, and all they had, instead of the IT, kind of stagnant pictures that, the kind of stock images that you had, all they had was the IT guru who was at that company standing in front of a whiteboard, okay? And he was actually explaining to the average ordinary idiot, which at that time was me, what the cloud actually is. He was explaining stuff that, Sue talks about in her sleep, that I still barely understand. And that video, when I talked to him, he said that converted, everybody in the company objected to that video. Everybody, including the CEO, the design staff, but that's the video that actually made sales. And of course, they've gotten a lot more popular. This is one of the reasons like Rand Fiskin will do his Whiteboard Friday days, right, and SEO Mods. It works. It converts. It leads to sales. Okay, with that, I think we should close with this subdomain effect question.
Yeah, and yeah, that's an interesting question. Let me just do that side question that Jane just asked. The question is it okay to use breadcrumbs in a silo-structured website? Absolutely, because your breadcrumb is just going to lead folks back up the silo. You're not cross-linking to other silos, so that's fine. All right, so Bob's question is about subdomains versus top-level domains, and what's my experience in are they as effective, and obviously you've got the opportunity to save money if you use subdomains rather than buying a bunch of top-level domains. And here's what you got to do. You have to step back and figure out what it is you're trying to accomplish. Like that's the whole, like when you come to certification, one of the first things we do is, after we talk about all the moving pieces, is we draw out the map. Like what is it that you're trying to accomplish and how is it that you're trying to accomplish it? And
exactly.
The way, from a technical perspective, what Google does is it looks at subdomains as being a folder. So it gives it just a smidgen more ranking kudos than a folder does. So for me, a subdomain, sorry folks. A subdomain, yeah, exactly. A subdomain is a really great thing to use to segment your site. So if you've got different things that you're doing, let's say you've got a diet site, diet.com, right? And you're going to have a members area, then it's a good idea to have members.diet.com. And then if you're going to have a blog, you're going to have blog.diet.com. And then if you're going to have an information portal, like maybe a wiki or something like that, you might have like wiki.diet.com. Now, with that being said, when do you leave it wiki.diet.com and when do you move it to its own domain of diet-wiki.com or whatever other keyword that you might want to get in there? And that's kind of like, well, what is it that you're actually trying to do? By removing that off of the domain, you have the opportunity to create kind of a third-party distance, right? So even if you brand it, like ThemeZoom's wiki is branded ThemeZoom, but it's got the look and feel of what's the word that I'm trying to come up with?
Wikipedia. It's a media wiki and stuff.
Yeah, it's the default Wikimedia theme, which looks like Wikipedia, and that gives it an air of authority, right? So this is all neuropsychological stuff, but when you look at it from that perspective, like the whole idea of a wiki is to build trust, right? Here I am, I'm freely giving you information and participating in the community and trying to help, and that builds trust. And so by removing it from the domain where you're actually trying to sell somebody something, you've created that distance and you actually give it the opportunity to have even more of a trust factor.
Yep, and this is why we really have all of the guys at certification and gals at certification write everything down to begin with, because everything costs money. Like, it wasn't cheap in time and money to build a wiki, right? So you can't just tell a ma and pa, you really need to build a wiki, you know, when they're just struggling for dear life just running their storefront, right?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So it depends 100% on what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
We knew when we built the wiki that we wanted a separate Class C block. You know, you put it on a different server.
Yep.
It's in a different country, you know, I mean, so to speak. I mean, the point is that, of course, we knew we were going to use that for page rank and so on and so forth. So, you know, there's different ways and reasons that you do different things.
Yep.
But you have to calculate carefully, otherwise your time, your money.
Yep.
And I admit there is a lot of variables.
There's a huge number.
What you want to do. So, Bob, when you're talking about doing a subdomain or a new domain, for me, I have found that, you know, if I'm going to build, I build new domains when I'm building WR2 auto blogs, for example, or when I'm doing video blogs or meme addiction blogs or these types of things, because I've got methods of top-level domain acquisition, and that just makes it really, really easy, right? To drive page rank. So I'm a little bit more on the page rank side of things when I'm doing those WR2, because we're SEOs and so on and so forth. If somebody's just, you know, if they're just building, if they're primarily selling most of their things through pay-per-call, and they're doing just fine like that, and they're ranking for the 4 or 5 keywords that they need to fairly effectively, and you know they've got some backlinks running and this and that, and they're too busy collecting sales and running their business and fulfillment to build a network, well, they're not a candidate for creating a new domain and paying that yearly domain and accruing that IT debt every year at $12 a domain or $6, whatever that is. So you have to look at each one of your clients individually and look realistically at what kind of IT debt they're willing to accrue, and also if it's really even important or useful, you know, to get that extra page rank 2 or page rank 4 domain that they're going to buy or whatever, you know, to do, you know, to build a separate domain, because a subdomain is free, and if it's functional, generally the rule of thumb, you guys, is like if it's a functional aspect of your business and you need a separate folder to do it, like Sue said, you know, members.whatever.com. You want to keep that on the same. That's a time when you really don't want to confuse things by creating an entirely separate domain.
Right.
What is that video for, Tello?
I have. Oh, I didn't look at the video. I was thinking you're looking at my screen.
Are you marketing to us, Tello, on my own webinar? I really hope you're not. Okay.
So I have to say that
I'm kidding you, Tello.
There's a whole bunch of stuff on this, a whole bunch of comments on this call that we haven't gotten the opportunity to address, and I feel bad about it. But we'll have another webinar next week, or next month, I mean. And before we go, I just want to show you guys the evilness that Kelly and I have been doing the last couple of days. And
I won't mention the video plugin we have coming, because that would
no, that's
next month. Okay.
I don't even know if I'm going to let you talk about that next month. So back to the plugin that everybody knows and loves, right? Our WordPress silo structure blog plugin that you can build a blog in less than 5 minutes. You can actually build it in, I don't know. I can build that silo structure blog in 2 minutes. Anyway.
You are such a show-off.
I might be overly caffeinated. So back here in Kraken, like I'll start in Voma because everybody knows Kraken. Well, most people know Kraken Voma. All right, so this is where most people work, and 90% of the people never really do much other than Voma, and they just export their stuff out of Voma and they take it over to Domain Web Studio and do their thing. But here under Blueprints, and let me just go into one of my blueprints, and there's a new thing. I mean, we've always had export up here, but until this weekend, the only thing that you could get from the export was just the HTML scaffold, which is a great way to quick start your thing if you're doing HTML. But all of the poor people who were doing WordPress blogs, they were left out in the cold, right? So now you can get a blog XML export, And when you save that export out to your desktop, it looks exactly like the DWS blog export. And so what happens is that it interfaces with our I'm too excited to talk. It interfaces with our silo structure blog plugin. And so now you can go right smack from Kraken to a WordPress blog in lickety-split less than 5 minutes.
Yep. And I just, Kevin probably,
yeah.
Kevin, the only reason she's announcing this is for you because she hasn't had time to update our team
Yeah.
members. Kevin Polly is our extraordinary master help desk and many, many other things, quite overly skilled help desk person. We have, I just want to emphasize that, yeah, you got to have Kraken for that. And I wanted to give you guys a little known secret for those of you who don't have Kraken. This is not a pitch because I just want to make sure that you are aware. Sue has tucked it away. There is a 3-day Kraken subscription. You have to go to themezoom.com to get it. It's very affordable. If Kraken is the main thing that I use to build my video automation sites that uploads thousands of videos per day. These are the things that I do to build my WR2 and WR3. Kraken is my fave of fave. I love TLKT as well for different things, and I love Domain Web Studio as well. But I'm exporting my Kraken stuff. Up to this point, I've been exporting my Kraken stuff into DWS to get it to the blog. Now you can go either way, depending upon what you're trying to accomplish. Obviously, if you're managing your content and the rest. So we're just giving you as many ways as possible to get out to a blog quickly. And so when the skeletal framework inside Kraken is ready and you're ready to export that, then you can go into your blog and you can add your call to, your compelling, you can surround the keywords with the rest, like for example, if your keyword is VA, aid, and whatever that word was, you could put all about VA, aid, from Guy, Porter, whatever. So you can change your menus to be whatever it is related. You guys don't forget to update your menus with compelling things. Like don't just export from Kraken or DWS and leave it, automobiles in Houston, automobiles in, don't do that. Put stuff in the menu like it's for human beings, like crazy VA aid tricks from Guy Porter, whatever. But just, guys, remember, your menu items also need to be adjusted for human beings, okay? Don't just leave your skeleton structure up there, all right? And Kraken is powerful, 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 all right? So be sure to at least experiment with both importing Kraken into Domain Web Studio, and now you can export Kraken directly into a blog. Heck, try both of them.
So I just want to clarify a couple of things. If you're going to come in and grab the 3-day pass and you want to export through the Kraken blueprint, you're also going to need a blueprint. And at the moment, I have only tested, like, as I said, we just did this weekend, so I don't know that I have all the kinks worked out yet.
I told you not to announce it.
I know, and of course it created questions, and so now I have to answer for you.
I told you.
I know.
All right.
So I haven't tried it with the structural outlines yet, so I will try that shortly. But it's a busy week for me this week. It's holiday and I got family in town, so don't hold me too much to my feet over the coals, okay? I know it works with the detailed silo, so you're going to need silos as well as your 3-day pass. If it's your first time with a 3-day pass, let the help desk know. We'll extend your time online so that you can get over the learning curve. And for you guys who want to know about, do we have Kraken videos? There's Kraken videos right here in the members area. I will shoot this list into this doesn't go into how to do the blueprints. It just goes into how to do the market research. But that's the time-consuming part. That's what you.
Kevin is our help desk, and he's asking for support right now. So
oh no! Ouch.
So actually, just give us a few. We need to get Kevin up to speed, and once he gets cranking, then we'll. Just want to let you know.
This is a sneak peek. Yeah.
Not really. It kind of is in Kraken, right? It's live.
Yeah, it's live. It is live.
Yeah, so it's a live sneak peek.
Oh.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
The help desk, like right now, the chat.
Kevin is going to send me a letter bomb, but we'll be okay.
I warned you. All right, you guys. I got to get out of here. I've got to head into Phoenix to the
Same
airport.
here.
I'm all the way in Prescott. So I really appreciated Tava wants to know about the video plugin, and I'm not going to tell him or her.
No, wait, what video plugin? There was no video plugin mentioned on this
webinar. There actually will be a public version coming out, and there will also be a certification version coming out. So give us a few weeks on that.
Yeah.
Essentially, what it's going to allow you to do is pull from Kraken.
I'm sorry, but
hey, you know what? You announced something that's not actually done. At least I've tested the video plugin.
Hey,
I'm using
I did
the
test
video
this.
plugin. Oh, jeez. All right.
All right,
we'll announce
guys, you have a wonderful holiday, you guys that are Americans, and for the rest of the world, don't work too hard.
No. Bye.
The organizer has ended the session, and